Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, last topic was dependency injection through the collection of the list and map, right? Now, there is one more concept of split code. Split code. Here, string auto wiring is a concept. So, what does string auto wiring means? Wiring a bin means configuring a bin along with its dependency into an XML. Like what are the previous concepts we have seen? In this previous concepts, the auto wiring was disabled. Means what? The programmer has to explicitly enable the wiring. Okay? And what do you mean by this enabling of the auto wiring will do? Auto wiring will support the dependency in the form of objects. And here, like two classes are there. Consider a categories and a books. So I added some like book ID or book price or book name in this book class. Few variables you can say. So the setter and getter methods will be there. So category in the sense, what is the book category you can say? Okay. Based on the book category, the book name and the price must be displayed. So these book values must be injected to the categories. So the book values is injected to the categories using the auto wiring. And auto wiring can be done in several ways. What are the different ways you can say? First is by name. Second is by type. Third is constructor. And fourth is auto detect. These four types are there by using which we can have the auto wiring. Okay. So first thing, what do you mean by name? Simple thing, two classes are there, two Pojo classes, or the thing you can say plain old or Java object, right? So we'll take this book class variables or the object values must be stored inside the categories. So inside the categories and displaying the book values based on the category. Okay. So how it is done, if you see an example, it will be clear to you, like how we are interacting in a string auto wiring. First thing, we need to see an example by name. Suppose I'm writing the files, I'm writing a file. After writing the program, if I explain each and every tag, then you will understand directly. The first thing will be string auto wiring. So in this auto wiring, we have few things. What are the few things you can say? We already know setter injection and constructor injection is there. So we'll be using the setter injection itself. Okay. So here, right click and say new class. So what is the class? You can say we have book. And what is the example we have? Com dot auto wiring. So com dot auto wiring is a particular package. Inside that book is there. Okay. Now after that book, what we have for a book? Suppose I'm having private string book name, right? Or directly you can take the book name. Next, private int book price. So basic thing, the book name and the book price will be there. We need to write the setter and getter methods. Okay. So I'll just copy this thing, right click, source. Inside that source, getter and setter methods. So we need to select the things, select all and click OK. So we got the setter and getter methods. Okay. Now after this books comes under a category. Which category that we have to see. So I'll right click on this particular package, create a new class, and what is the class name? You can say com dot, directly you can say categories. Inside the categories we have again two things. What are the two things? You can say private string category name. What are the category is it? The name. And private book BK. BK is a reference and object which points to the book class. Right? So book class values are being accessed inside the categories. In order to access one dependency object values into another file, we need to use this auto wiring thing. So automatically the values will be mapped. So we don't have to worry about that mapping of files. Okay. So first thing, when I click string name, like we need to generate the two things, setter and getter methods, right? So I'll just directly right click on it, say source, select all and click on OK. So again we got what? We got the setter and getter methods. Now apart from the setter and getter methods, I want to display the values. Means here in the categories, I want to display the book values. So already we have that book object. By using the book object, I can call the book name and the book price. Right? So this injecting of book object values into category is nothing but, you can say, auto wiring. So I'll use a show method here, like public void show. So like directly system.out.println, I have categories name. And system.out.println, we have book name. So already have the BKID like object. So don't need to again create the book object, right? So directly you can call the methods. What are the methods you have? bk.get book name. Book price equals to, what is book price? You can say get book price. So we got the book name and the book price, right? After this, ఈ book నుంచి values ఈ category రావాలి. ఎలా వస్తాయంటే, for that we need to write the mapping file. So if we write the mapping file properly, then the values will reach. And remember that mapping file must be created inside the SRC, not inside the package. Click on others. Inside the others, XML file. Say next. So what's the file name? You can say anything you can take. I'm just taking spconfig.xml. సో ఇక్కడ కాన్ఫిగ్ అనేది సింపుల్ థింగ్. సో ఈ ట్యాగ్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం, రైట్? డాక్ టైప్. Right. So how to configure the bin stacks of both categories in this particular book, that we have to see. First thing, bin stack is there. In the bin tag, I need to write a bin. So what does the bin consist of? ID. What do you mean by ID? The object. Object for the class. And which class you can say com dot. The dependency or auto wiring actually. Now com dot auto wiring dot what you can say categories. After the categories, auto wire is there. Here the programmer is explicitly enabling that particular auto wiring, that is a bin name. Okay, and after the bin name you have the properties. What are the properties we have in a category? Only the name property, right? Apart from that we have one more thing known as BK. So inside that BK object, what properties we have, that we need to write. Okay, so two bin tags are there. One is for the categories, one is for the book. And in category we have only one reference. In books we have multiple. Okay, so I would write the property name now. Here categories variable name is name. In that I am storing a value general books. If you want story books, you can take story books. This is a value, user defined value. If I am giving on story books, like you need to just take the storybook value inside the bin tag, inside the child. So ID equals to BK, and the class equals to, what is the class? You can say com dot auto wiring. Okay, auto wiring dot, and what is the class we have this time? Book. So inside the book we have two properties. One is the property name, and what is the property name? You can say book name. And what is the value? You can say, if you want Harry Potter, I'm writing, right? Any book name you can write. Property name equals to book price. And value equals to the price of the book, you can say 560. So this is different object which is being injected into the categories class, and how to identify it? Auto wiring means the book object values are being injected into the categories, and it can be done by 3-4 ways. One is by name. Name in the sense the object name. If categories object name like book BK and spconfig book object are seen. When both are seen, these values are injected into the object, right? And we can have it inside the particular categories also. That's a different scenario. Okay, so here book name is what we can give. Book price is nothing but just now we are given that 560 as a book price. Okay, so next, the by name means the object name. If the object name is not same inside the category reference and the book reference inside the spconfig.xml, you cannot inject the values. So we need to see that both the things, right? So now the next thing will be the main logic. What you are trying to say, the string auto wiring you are trying to say. Auto wiring example. So already we have seen this thing. Same code will be there, right? What is it code you can say? Public static void main string args. Inside the string args, first we need to create an object for the resource. And if you want to access all those things, for the string auto wiring, you need to set the path, class path. Add additional jars, and you can see in the reverse we have few things. One is commons login and the speed 2.5.6. We got the values like jar files. Now you can access the resource. Resource res equals new class path resource. That class path resource will have this XML config.xml. Now we need to import the package. What are the package you are importing? Framework. And one more package what you are trying to import, the IO package. And now inside this we need to write one more object known as bin factory. Bin factory n, or you can say how to create a bin factory object, new XML bin factory. So in this thing we need to pass the res resource. So based on the resource file, the SP configuration, it will be read and we will create an object for the bin factory. This is importing the bins factory. We imported it, and after that we have one more thing known as bins factory. So everything is similar to previous ones, right? Now object O equals to factory dot get bin. So what is the bin object we have? We need to get here. That is nothing but categories. Categories object ఏంటిది ఇక్కడ? What's the object of categories? You can say it's ID1. And this ID1 will be having here. Like here we just give it as now. What's it saying? Object cannot be resolved type. Right? So here after getting the object ID, create categories when you load categories. I'm typecasting it to the categories now. And cv dot show. So this is a code which we rewrite for the auto wiring. And now after this, how to execute it? Click on the auto wiring example. Run this. In line 4 in XML document from the spconfig is invalid. Nested exception. Line 4. So bin ID is there, and after that bin ID, some tag is missing, I guess. Categories is there. Double quotes is okay.
Double quotes missing in the class.
Yeah, it's missing. So the exception, if you are getting the exceptions, try to read that carefully, then the information will be there. Each and every line, if you read, it will be giving any proper information. Now again, if I execute this auto wiring example, you got the categories, and what is the category you can say? Category name, storybook, and what's the book name, and the book price. So here, the book object values. Suppose if this BK and this book.java, this reference, the category is book reference BK is same, then only we'll get the object like output, because it is injecting by using the auto wiring, which enables it automatically. Suppose in the categories or the spconfig, instead of BK, I'm giving that object name as CK. Here there is no common reference between the book spconfig.xml and the categories.java. Here a different reference is used, and here it's a different reference we are passing, creating CK. So click on that and run this thing. We got an exception. What is the exception? Categories name, storybooks, it's printing. But after that saying null pointer exception. When I click on categories.java 20, here it's giving the null pointer exception. Because akkada CK undi, ikkada BK undi. The CK object is not being injected into the BK. If you want to inject the object values, then you need to use the auto wiring, and it should be enabled. Enabled in the sense we use this auto wiring by name. Okay, and based on that you can access the files. You can see. Understood? That is the name we are able to. What is the name here? Here, this is the name. Reference is nothing but what you are pointing to as a name inside this program. Okay, if that spconfig.xml contains the same thing as CK or the BK, if I try to execute now, it will give the same output. You got the same output, right? And that is happening only because by name both are same. The spconfig object name and the categories object name, not the reference name, both are same. Okay, that's the reason we got the output. Now, second way is nothing but by type. Here, simple thing, we don't have to get confused. In this example, by type indicates not the data type. It's not the string what you are saying, what he is indicating. Here, by type indicates the particular class name as a return type. Okay, object as a return type. For that reason, inside that categories, we have this name, right? Get name, set name. Get VK, set VK. if I just save this thing and if I execute, you got the output like categories name and book name. Don't consider the type means it's a string. The type indicates the class name. Okay, and here if you are giving by type, it's not mandatory that object should be same. Whenever the categories is seeing that particular class book, directly what will happen? You can access that particular object. Okay, so I'll just simply change that example yesterday. We got the bin factory object, that's the factory, and based on that factory, XML bin factory is there. Okay, it's reading the configuration file, you can say, and spconfig.xml is also reading the same. So next thing, I'll just say by name. Instead of by name, I'll use the by type. Okay, so what's the just difference we need to see? By type and by name both are same. Just here the object should not match, we should match with the class name or the table name, you can say. So first of all, I'll give it a try. Now in this thing, what are the examples you have? It's BK, and what is the type we are taking now? Type. Okay, so in this type we have taken it as auto-var of by type, and anything else we are changing? No. The object name, is it same? If you want, you can change it also, there is no issue, and just make it as CK, right? And inside that CK and here the categories BK are not same, but inside the book we have a class like book name or the particular price. These two things are there, right? Now inside the auto varying, when you create a categories object and call the show method, it will execute both the things now. One is categories, along with the categories the book will be getting executed. Okay, that is the point. So now for this particular by type, what is it example we need to say? Just now I have given that example, auto varying example. Inside that categories is there, right? So here object is different, right? By that type means book, the book class name and the categories, the class name both will be matched. Here get name, set name, get BK, set BK, right? So next after this, if I run this application, previously it got exception, but I got the output now. Even though if I am just keeping auto varying the category object, okay, first category object you are retrieving, based on the category object when you are calling the show, based on that show it will execute. Here show the book name and the book price will get executed. Okay, those two things are the things we need to follow. Now I just said it as by type. So by type in the sense we are not worrying about the object now. The object is CK inside the configuration file and the object is BK inside the jar.java file. Okay, so next thing will be, say this part, we got the output, and now one more concept is there known as constructor injection. This is what by name is completed. By name indicates the reference name of category book and the book class name. must change. Okay, so now what you have to do? Constructor. How to inject a constructor inside this auto wiring, that we have to see. Okay, simple thing. Constructor means what? Instead of having the setter method, like here set pk, I just need to write a constructor. What is the constructor definition? Same name as class name, categories. Now in this category it's a constructor, and here book value is getting stored here. This is object value, right side object value, variable is stored in the left side object value. Like the instance variable is being stored and that local variable is storing the value inside the instance, right? That's the reason we got the same output, you can say. Understood? This is what auto wiring with by type. By type indicates categories, type, and the class name of the poser class both must be same. Okay, till now it's clear. Any doubts, anyone? Auto wiring by name we have seen. Auto wiring by type we have seen. Name means the reference. Type means that particular class name. That must be seen. Anything else you want to know? Right. So next thing, how to write by constructor already we have started. Like here category is there. Inside the category, we have written a categories and book key. What is it? BK? It's a reference which is empty. Okay, and this BK local object value is being stored inside the super. Right? I need to write a constructor. Constructor in the sense, if you see the previous example, I've just taken it as by type. If you run the auto wiring, what's in the output? What's the output you got? Error creating bin with name ID1, defining the class path resource. Nested thing is there. Or is the nested thing you can say? Could not initialize the bin class categories. No default constructor nested exception. Are the problem? So how to overcome this problem inside the categories? It's a constructor, and the constructor stores the parameter. Okay. So now inside the auto wiring example or the string config, is a type what you are given. That's the reason we are getting the exception. If I just say it as constructor now, so what is happening? In the category, I am using that constructor now. Simple thing, inside the Spring or Java, everywhere the task will be there. We need to know which task can be performed by which method. Right? After that, once you have seen the constructor, if I just execute the auto wiring now, what happens? Just click on this particular part. So we got the category name, storybooks, book name, and that Harry Potter, and that book price 560. What is happening here? Same program, three different ways we are accessing the values. One is by the setter injection, second is by the construction. Setter injection is again classified of two types. One is the type, by type, and one is by. What are the types you can say?
By name.
Right. By type and by name. And the next is constructor. And the last one is what? Auto detect. Okay. So based on what tag you're using or all the things, based on that it will execute, you can say. So I'll just enter this and execute. Click on auto wiring example. Just run this thing. We got the output. So that's the constructor, you can say. And if you want to have the auto detect also, same thing will come. It's auto detect, right? After this auto detect, we have given constructor is gone and everything is gone. We got the values. Auto detect means it will detect first whether you are using what kind of a particular tag, right? So here auto detect means it will check for the constructor injection first. If not, Spring auto wire by type. Okay, so Spring auto wire by type means it will take the video, or else directly you can see the auto detect. Now save this thing. You got the output, right? So auto detect by name, by type, and the constructor. 4 different types of things are there, and when I give the auto detect, it will check whether it's a constructor injection or a setter injection. If it is not constructor injection, it will search for the setter injection. If it is a constructor injection itself, it directly take. Okay. So there's a difference between the tags, what we need to know in the Spring auto wiring. And now, any doubts in this concept? What is the by name, by type, constructor, and auto detect? Any doubts in these concepts? 4 types, 4 different ways, but the same example we have seen. So next concept will be the Spring JDBC. Actually, in the market we are not using Spring JDBC, but in order to interact with that Spring MVC, we need to know what is JDBC now in this Spring also. Okay. So apart from that, we have one more thing known as Spring ORM. What is ORM? It's nothing but integrating the Spring framework to Hibernate framework. Because Hibernate also follows the ORM rule, right? Object relational mapping. Right? That is the advantage we have. And after the Spring ORM, we have Spring AOP. Spring AOP, Spring IOC, you can say, or Spring Web MVC. This Web MVC is very important. Okay, so we have seen this Spring Core now. After the Spring Core concepts, the dependency injection with setter, like constructor, and the like collections. Then the Spring auto wiring. Now tomorrow we'll see the Spring JDBC. Inside the JDBC, how to send the database commands to the database. Okay, and now if you want ORM, object relational mapping can be done using the Hibernate framework. It is best suitable to use Hibernate framework. Okay, so we are integrating both these particular things, Spring framework and the Hibernate framework, you can say. So in tomorrow's class, we'll see the remaining things. That is the JDBC tomorrow will complete. and after that AOP, then MVC. MVC will take 3 to 4 classes because that's the important thing. I'll just give an example of the web application, like how to take the values from the HTML and how to store in the database. The CURD operations are there, right? Minimum CURD operations will be. Understood? Any doubts in this thing? Example clear? So examples like auto detect, constructor, by type, by name. 4 concepts in a single example you see. And the 2 classes are there. Car class is there and the bike. If both the things required, then you have to write the same thing. Okay? So tomorrow we'll see the Spring JDBC. After that, Spring AOP. Then the last topic will be the Spring MVC, Web MVC. Okay, 3 major topics. If you don't understand the Spring JDBC, then the same database code will be using in the Spring Web MVC. Right? So that's it for today. We'll meet again tomorrow.